Henry Howard, Esquire, former governor of Rhode Island, a sketch on the Honorable Elisha Harris. The early annals of Rhode Island record the name of William Harris as frequently the honored one of Roger Williams. He was one of 5 companions of Williams in the settlement of Providence. Until his death, continued to occupy a prominent place in the councils of the colony. Griswold, the historian of state, and speaking of his death, remarks as follows: Thus perished one of the strong men of Rhode Island. He filled a large space in the early history of the colony as an active, determined man, resolute in mind and vigorous in body. He enlightened in conflicts, bold in his views on the political dogmas of his time, fearless in his mode of expressing them, striking always firmly and always rashly for what he believed to be the right, and denouncing with the energy of a concentrated intellect all men or measure that did not conform to his ideas of truth or justice. The Honorable Elisha Harris, the subject of this sketch, was enabled to trace his direct descent not only from this distinguished pioneer of his native state, but from Roger Williams himself through one of his daughters. It is not strange, therefore, that he should have been warmly attached to the traditions of the state, that he should have exhibited in his character so many distinctive Rhode Island traits. He was the son of Joseph Harris and Catherine Green Harris. He was born in the town of Cranston, September 8, 1791. His father was a farmer of proverbial thrift and sagacity, and his mother was equally noted for the judicious management of her household and her uniform serenity. They each lived to a ripe old age, and although blessed with 8 children, never knew the sorrow of losing one or mortification of seeing one of them leading an intemperate or dishonorable life. The father died first at the age of 84. The aged widow bore his departure with equanimity, which surprised even those who knew her best, and bided patiently her time, till permitted to rejoin him 2 years afterward. Mr. Harris, Senator, was a stockholder in the Roger Williams Manufacturing Company, one of the earliest companies formed for the manufacture of cotton goods by water power. The establishment was located on the north branch of the Pawtucket River, about 7 miles from the Harris Farm. It was the predecessor of the present Phoenix Mill, which owes its name to the fact that the original mill was consumed by fire. At the age of 20, young Harris had then passed some time at the seminary at East Branch, and being ambitious of a more active life than that of a farmer, obtained a situation in the counting room of the Roger Williams Company. He remained in the service of the company some 8 years, and then leased a small mill in the village of Fiskville, about a mile above the Roger Williams Mill, and commenced business on his own account. Cautious, industrious, skillful, and of undoubted probity, he could not fail of success. In a short time he found himself sufficiently prosperous to justify a bolder step in advance. Between the Roger Williams, or Phoenix as it has been then become, and Fiskville, it was a valuable fall unimproved. That would be a waterfall. His attention was attracted to it, and after much careful examination and many surveys, he concluded to purchase as much of that wild tract as it was necessary for him to hold to secure the privilege. The deeds were seasonably executed, so that as soon as his lease of the mill above expired, he commenced the work of clearing the forest and constructing the dam, excavating the trenches, and laying the foundations of the mill. This was the origin of the village which bears his name, and where he continued to reside till his decease. It is an interesting fact that there are families now resident in the village who have had constant employment in the mill since it was built. The labor of starting the new village was a Herculean one, but the difficulties disappeared rapidly before his well-directed energy, and the enterprise was soon in successful operation. The manufacturing business we speak of, the manufacturing of cotton and woolen goods, has always been subject to great fluctuations. In prosperous seasons, the profits have often been so large as to attract capital from all departments of industry, creating a ruinous competition. Prosperity and disaster have thus succeeded each other, with the regularity of periodic revolutions. It has been the common and fatal error of manufacturers to commence the erection of new mills and the enlargement of old ones under the stimulus of auspicious times. The effect of this is to divert their attention from the operation of their mills at a time when it is most required. They are obliged to pay a high price for the labor needed for the purposes of construction and a contract for machinery while machinists are participating in the general success and able to command better profits. Worse than all, the goods are thrown upon the market and their notes become due just as prosperity and activity give way to dullness of trade, depressed prices, and monetary stringency. 9/10 of the failures among manufacturers are attributed to the suicidal course. It has always been remarked of Governor Harris that although he steadily added to the productive capacity of his mill estate, he never allowed himself to be seduced into enterprises and expenditures by the flattering profits of flush times. His careful observation taught him to anticipate the recurrence of a reverse season, when he would have the leisure to superintend building operations, and when he could avail himself of the resources of labor, material, and mechanism at low estimates. As a logical result of this policy, while many others were staggering through panics, with tainted credits and heavy loads of interest, superinduced by the construction accounts, he was generally at ease financially and had the additional advantage of timing the introduction of his increased production with the revival of trade.